getting out the vote, which has become so critical at this stage in the election campaign. For more on this, we've reached Jin-Soo Huh. He's the co-chair of Q-Force, an LGBTQ plus grassroots organization getting out the vote in the battleground states. I understand you're in Milwaukee right now?
Yeah, we're actually in a town just south of Milwaukee called South Milwaukee.
Okay. And you are from Chicago. So tell me a little bit about Q-Force and what you're going to be doing in Wisconsin and also in Michigan over the next 4 days.
For sure. Q-Force is a group of LGBTQ plus Chicagoans who are interested in making sure that democracy is preserved, that LGBTQ plus rights are protected, other rights like women's rights are protected as well. And so we're a group of folks who've been knocking on doors, going directly to Michigan and Wisconsin, which are such critical battleground states. And we're part of a larger group of organizations under Operation Swing State, which has mobilized. Last weekend, there were over 1,500 Chicagoans going to these key states, talking to voters about why we're excited about Kamala Harris and other Democrats to win up and down the ballot.
Okay, so you've got these volunteers out canvassing, going door to door, getting out the vote. How many volunteers do you have in total and how many on the ground right now?
Yeah, so we're right now in Wisconsin. We have about 45 volunteers just today, but between now and Election Day, we'll have about 75 and a similar number also in Michigan in a key area there as well.
Okay. As I understand it, you've spent the past 6 months making day trips on weekends from Chicago to canvass in Michigan and Wisconsin. Now you're staying overnight to canvass and get out the vote. Why did you want to do that? Why take these 4 days and specifically sort of set yourselves up there?
Yeah, so as we know, this election is just so critical moving forward. We know what Trump has done in 2016 to 2020. We know his stance on LGBTQ folks. We know what he wants to do with Project 2025. And so we wanted to make sure that we had a voice in what was happening and talk directly to voters about why it's so important that they support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to be our next president and vice president. Specifically, these next 4 days are so important, making sure that voters who are supporters have a plan to vote. It's nice to be like, oh, I'm supportive, but if you don't vote, then it doesn't matter. And talking to those voters who have those final questions, those wonderings, to see if we can do final persuasion calls with them.
But this election, as you say, so close, almost 50-50. There's support among a large swath of the population for Donald Trump, for the Republicans. So what's been the response that you've been getting from the electorate?
Yeah, so Wisconsin is a very purple state, very 50-50. President Biden won it with less than 3 votes per precinct. That was less than 1% of the state. But the voters we're talking to are excited, having a new voice like Vice President Kamala Harris to lead our new generation. I think they want something new. So there's been enthusiasm that we've seen when she became the nominee. There's a lot of enthusiasm for folks like Senator Tammy Baldwin, who's been the senator and champion here in Wisconsin. So it's been great to see so much enthusiasm and people wanting to get out the vote. And so we've just been talking about why we're so excited and sharing that enthusiasm with folks. And the voters, I think, have been responsive. And also, they also have been bringing that enthusiasm as well.
The LGBTQ plus community is no stranger to advocacy, to fighting for what's important to them. What would you say makes your community so effective at doing this kind of work? And what kind of skills do you bring to the table from that experience?
Yeah, the LGBTQ plus community, by definition, we are a political organization, right? We've had our rights challenged before. We've had to fight for a lot of our rights. So I think that we know how to mobilize. We know how to get people excited. I think it hasn't been a hard asking friends in the LGBTQ plus community to come out, make the drive up here, stay, take some time, because they know what's at stake. So I think that's been really, really great to see so many people excited, fired up, to come out here, make sure we're not just fighting for our rights, but also the rights of other people like women and our transgender siblings and others as well.
In 2020, your organization did this in Michigan as well. Tell me about the effect of that effort and what you learned from that.
Yeah, in 2020, we went to an area in southwestern Michigan called Benton Harbor. And so what was exciting about that is that we were able to see an actual tangible increase. we have so many volunteers that a lot of folks that we were knocking on their doors were surprised to see us because they were like, we haven't seen canvassers in this part of town before. And so what we were able to see in that area was that there was actually, I believe, a 3% to 5% increase in turnout for Democratic voters there. And as we know, Michigan played a key role in making sure that President Biden won the election. Now, it's not just us, right? There are volunteers across the country working in these key battleground states, knocking on doors. Even in just this location in South Milwaukee, we've seen various groups like Human Rights Campaign, LGBTQ plus Victory Fund, Indivisible Chicago, other Operation Swing State members coming here right now to make sure that folks are voting.
Is there anything you learned from that you're doing differently this time?
Yeah, I think that last time we wanted to start earlier. And so we knew that we had to get the message out earlier. We actually, as you mentioned, started 6 months ago because we wanted to make sure voters had touch points early on and not just wait until the final end. So we wanted to have as many touch points as possible.
Jin-Soo Huh, it was great to get your perspective on the program, and we really appreciate you speaking to us. I know you got a busy few days ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. But we're excited and we're going to get the victory.
The Jin-Soo Huh is the co-chair of Q Force. We'll be back here on CBC News Network in just a moment.